Hello, in this video we will be looking at the Bodhicaryavatara, chapter 7, verse 57. Oops. First without the text on the screen and then with. Manena durgatinnita manushyepi hatutsabaha parapindashino dasa murkha durdarshanaha krishaha. And now I'll bring up the text. Here we are. Manena durgatinnita manushyepi hatotsavaha parapindashino dasa murkha durdarshana krishaha. So manena durgatinnita, led by pride to literally to a bad going, a bad place. This durgati, from the root gam, to go, and remember that the past participle is not ganta, which we would normally have expected, but gata. So the nasal drops out, as it does with, for example, han, meaning to hit or to kill. That becomes hatta. And we have the gata, the past participle gata in tathagata, often described as the thus gone or the gone to thusness. There's more to that story, of course, but this is just illustrating the grammar. Now, take the past participle gata. It's very common to make a verbal noun with making a feminine noun in ti rather than the ta of the past participle. You have a gati. So the gati, a feminine verbal noun, it means a going, and then a destination, and then by extension, and very often in this kind of context, the destination in the sense of the rebirth that one takes. So a durgati, sometimes described as hell or a bad rebirth or just a bad destination, a bad place to finish up in, bad place to go to. The root ni means to lead, highlighted here, and the past participle is regular, nita, is led. This is another example of the past participle in ta and a verbal noun in ti. So we have nita is led, and niti is leading, government, being in charge of things. We have, for example, the word and shastra, meaning a teaching or the science of. Niti shastra, literally the leading side, the science of leading, is the word for politics or the science of government. Niti shastra, just as we have, for example, the word artha, means another way of saying, like gati, the place you go to, and therefore by extension the aim, also the meaning of something, the goal. By further extension, it means wealth. And so the word for economics in Sanskrit is arthashastra, literally wealth science, the science of wealth. And in modern Hindi, you have arthashastra, which is the modern word for economics as a subject of study. So anyway, back to where we were. Nita, led. Here we have the masculine plural, because these people are led. Nitaha, they are led. And by sandhi, the visarga of nita drops before the following voiced consonant. So manena, that's the instrumental, by pride. Nita, led, meaning they are led by pride. Durgatim, that's the accusative. And durgatihi would be the nominative, durgatim, the accusative. It's the accusative of motion. They are led to this bad rebirth by pride. And manushyepi, that's manushye api, even in humanhood. What this means here is this. Man, mind, thinking, and the manu, man, not biological male, but just mankind generally. Man is manu, is the thinking creature, and viewed as a descendant of this mythical primordial ancestor of humankind, who's called Manu. The ancestor, the ultimate ancestor of the thinking beings, which is us as man. And with the suffix shya, it's not a very common suffix. In fact, there may be other places it's used. Manushya is by far the most common word in which this suffix shya is used. So a manushya effectively means of Manu, of the race of Manu. So a manushya just means a human being. And in Pali, manusa. Let me call up my iPad for you. Right, so we have Manu, the archetypal human being in Hindu mythology, the ultimate ancestor of the human race. We have a member of that lineage, or a descendant of Manu is a Manushya, and that's where we get in Pali Manusa, which is just the ordinary word for a human being. Now we are going to make an abstract noun from the noun Manushya, meaning humanhood, human life, the quality of being there as a human. And you make that by, this is the one where you make it by vriddhi of the first syllable. So Manushya, Manushya. Now, this is one of those ones that forms the abstract by adding ya instead of a to the stem. So it would have been manushya with a double y, but it's already got a y there, so it doesn't double it. So that's good. Manushya, manushya, and that means humanity, the quality or state of being a human being. In this verse, it seems to mean even in manhood, that is, even while they were still alive as human beings. In other words, before or indeed after going to or coming back from whatever non-human realm they were in. So manushye api, even while still in their human existence. Manushya here can be described as translated as or viewed as human existence. Manushyepi, the locative. Even in human existence, they were hatotsava, that is hata utsava. So hatotsava, of course, masculine plural. So your utsava from the root su is to set in motion or to create or to push or set in motion. Utsu, either to go upwards or as a transitive verb to stir up, to set things in motion, get them going, arouse them. And as a verbal noun, the utsava is just getting things going, the arousal, getting things moving. Then by extension, it can mean a public festival where there's much public excitement and commotion and movement. And then agitation and also enterprise, and it's probably how it's meant here, in the sense of getting things moving, undertaking them, having your goal, doing what's necessary to achieve it. So an enterprise in that sense. So their sense of enterprise, um, their sense of being able to do things is hatta. We've just had this from the root han, to kill, past participle hatta. They are killed enterprise. That is, they whose enterprise is killed. This is a bahuvrihi noun, meaning hatta utsava means a person whose utsava is hatta. So their jubilation, jubilation here, but you could also say it as enterprise or sense of being able to act. So their utsava is killed, their utsava is destroyed. So even while in human life, their jubilation or enterprise is destroyed. Now, whether even as a human being, whether that does that refer to before they went to a bad rebirth or after they come back from one. I suspect before. So their sense of enterprise, their sense of being able to do things. Again, remember this interpretation I'm putting on it is very much swayed by Shantideva, talking about diligence, enterprise, getting things going, being on top of things, not being defeaters, no vishada, falling apart with despair. So I tend to think of this as meaning that even as a human being, even whilst in human life before death, their utsava, the sense of either jubilation or enterprise, being able to do things, was hatta. They were hatotsava, hatta utsava, by Sandhi hatotsava. Their sense of enterprise were destroyed even as human life. And now what happens? Manena durgatim nita. And now by pride, in other words, there's plenty of vanity, but no real sense of needing to do things. By pride, they have been led to this bad destination, even while still in human life. Manushepi hatotsava. Their enterprise, their sense of being able to do things was destroyed. And now what's happened to them? The second line is simply a series of nominals, that's nouns / adjectives, all in the nominative masculine plural, simply describing how they are now. Parapindashina, the root ash, to eat. I described it down here. Yeah, ash, to eat. Make a verbal noun, asha, eating, the act of eating, and by extension, as it means the substance that you eat, therefore food. Ashin, as the end of a compound, something, ashin, now very common ending, in, means having a particular thing as one's food. So if you are parapinda ashin, which becomes parapindashin, you are eating the alms given by others. Here we are, parapindashin, other alms eating, living off other people's charity. This word para, um, meaning other, just other people. Pinda actually means a ball. When you roll food up into a ball, and that's when you get the pinda pata, this dropping dropping of the pinda, of this rolled up ball of food, and that's the alms round, the pinda pata, the pinda dropping. And so parapindashin, eating these pinda, these balls of food dropped by other people, given by other people, basically, living off charity. This pinda, we know the Buddha very frequently stayed in the grove belonging to Anathapindaka, who was a very rich but benevolent man. And the Nata, the word Nata means somebody's lord or master. and negate that, make a bahuvrihi of it. If you are anatta, it means you are without a lord, without a master. And then by extension, specifically, it means that you are an orphan. You've lost your parents. And that's how it's used in modern India, certainly in modern Hindi. If somebody is anath, means either literally, anath is the modern Hindi pronunciation of Sanskrit anatha. If you're anath, means either literally you've lost your parents, or if you are anath, also used figuratively, you're helpless. You've got nobody to help you, nobody to go to for support. So there we are. That's Pinda. So Anatha Pindaka was the Pindaka, the person who gave Pinda to the Anaths, to the Anathas. So he was the giver of alms to the helpless, or more specifically, the Pindaka, the giver of Pinda, alms, to the orphans, to the Anatha. That's Anatha Pindaka. So here we are, they're Parapindashina. They are living off or eating other people's charity, alms charitably given. By the way, this ash, which then came into modern Hindi and Urdu and also into Persian, and it actually via that route came into English as hash. Having your hash means having your food. And specifically make a hash of something meant a stew, a mixed up stew. So when you think of eating your hash browns, remember that it's actually from this same root, ash, the root ash, and the noun asha, which in modern Hindi would be pronounced ash. So parapindashina, that's the root it's from. Dasa, slaves. As dasa, a slave or a servant. That's commonly seen in names in modern India, for example. Ramdas, for example, in Sanskrit that we pronounced as Ramadasa, but in modern Hindi, Ramdas, the slave or the servant of Rama. But here it has a pejorative meaning, just slaves. Murkha, that's just an ordinary word, just meaning stupid. Murkha. Durdarshana. Let's just unpack Durdarshana. Have it on my iPad. There we are. It's from our well-known root drish, meaning to see. These words are very common. I'm going to show you. Drishta means is the past participle seen. By the way, whenever you get the sh, the palatal sh, followed by a t, it always becomes shta like that. So what happens here is the form that doesn't exist. Drishta, we don't have that. It becomes automatically by sandhi drishta. And just as we have gata gati, nita niti, we have drishta drishti, a seeing, the act of seeing, or that which is seen, and therefore a view, an opinion. In Pali, by regular phonetic mutation, drishti becomes ditti, and that's where we get samaditi, right view from drish. Now, let us make a verbal noun from drish, and we can get one of the ways of making drishti is one of the verbal nouns, darshana is another, and it literally means just seeing or how, or not only seeing, but then one's appearance, how one looks. Now, If we put the prefix, the pejorative prefix in front of it, the duh becomes dur by sandhi, and that's how we get durdarshana, not looking good. Durdarshana. Incidentally, we have the king Piyadasi, Sanskrit Priyadarshan, one who looks there with friendliness upon people. That's that same root. And of course, in modern Hindi is darshana, say darshan, and in modern Hindi it is specifically, it means seeing and having sight. It specifically means if you go just to sit at the feet of a teacher, not necessarily to say anything, but if the teacher is, some famous sage might be giving darshan, and you would go for the darshan of that teacher. So that's how it's used in modern Hindi. And oddly enough, in modern Hindi, it's always used as a plural. उनके दर्शनों के लिए, but I don't quite understand why that's happened, but it has. It's not so in Sanskrit. So back to where we were. So durdarshana. Then, as with the other nominative plurals, it's durdarshanaha, nominative plural to rhyme with the unspoken they, and krishah. Krisha just means a word thin, but normally not in a good. It has the idea of being, emaciated and weak. Krisha. So here we are. They are nita. They are led manena by their false pride, their vanity. Durgatim, accusative motion, to a bad place, a bad birth. They were hata utsava by Santi hatutsava. They had their sense of enterprise, or their jubilation, their joie de vivre, you could describe it. Their joie de vivre and energy was hata, was killed, destroyed. Manushye api, by Santi manushye pi, even while they were still in human life. Parapindashino dasa murkha durdarshanah krisha. Other alms eating, other living off charitable donations from other people. Dasa, slaves. Murkha, stupid. Durdarshana, ugly. Krisha, emaciated. So I'll read it now once more before we wind up this verse. Manena durgatinnita manushyepi hatutsavaha parapindashino dasam murkha durdarshana krisha. And that concludes verse 57.